Sam Barber, thanks for taking the time. Went out to Oklahoma, got one good result, but your impression of your team?
It kind of a tough weekend for us, and I think that part of it, we had some unfortunate set of circumstances late in the week last week with some injuries, and that really kind of set us back a little bit. We end up having to bring about four. We have four weight classes where we had either backups in there or a little bit unsure like who our guy is. So we did put six really strong performances on the team. Start with Gavin Capella, who went out and what they'll say about Gavin is like it doesn't matter where we're at, who we're wrestling, what happens, you're gonna get the same exact guy every single time. Like he is probably one of our most consistent guys as far as his approach to the sport, his effort, and just what he does. So, and for him, it doesn't matter if you're in 15th ranked team in the country in Oklahoma, in Norman, Oklahoma, wrestling a guy with a Oklahoma singlet, like Gavin just goes out and executes. We lost two really tough overtime matches, and a couple of those we need to get. But those guys are they're competing and fighting hard and doing a great job. And then we had a couple just pretty solid kids we wrestled that were national ranked. Carter Nagel had a national ranked kid, and Logan Fowler had a national ranked kid, and Antonio Ramos had a national ranked kid, and they competed really well. Obviously with no moral victories, but they competed hard. They pushed the pace, they executed. They just got to continue to grow and get better. I think overall, I didn't feel like as a team, as a unit, like we're where we need to be, and that falls on me, right? That's where I need to take the ownership of that. If we can't go into our too deep and grab somebody and have them be prepared, that's because I'm not providing an opportunity and the structure they need to be successful. So if we're not winning overtime matches, I'm going to look at myself first and say, hey, did I put together the training plan that's going to help guys get there? I'm the guy that creates a training plan.
Yeah.
The guys just execute it.
Yeah.
So if we're not getting those types of things, then first thing is I got to look internally, which I have, and I think we came back and I tell the guys all the time, it's a switch, it's a dial, not a switch.
Right.
So we're just making some small adjustments, and I think it's going to help us. I'm going to do a little bit more of accountability on our number two guys, our developmental guys, to hold their feet to the fire on their personal growth, even when they're not the starters, so they can be ready to go when those opportunities come and when it is their time in the lineup. So, big takeaway was, we're not where we need to be. We're not there because I didn't put us there. And the good thing is that we still got some time to make some adjustments to get there, especially with this being a training cycle.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of overtime matches, and you say tweak things but how can you honestly prepare? Is that just going an extra mile in practice to make sure that they're that much more conditioned?
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit of that. I think we just got to turn it up a little bit, in the intensity and the conditioning piece, right? Like we're wrestling a really hard 7 minutes, and it's like you want to be able to a full overtime sequence, if it did everything right,
Right.
is 13 minutes. If you've wrestled, you probably understand how difficult that is. If you haven't, it's going to be hard for you to comprehend what it takes mentally, morally, and physically to go out there and put every fiber of your body into that thing. But if 13 minutes is the duration that it's going to take, where you're going to have to give your best physical performance and stay locked in mentally, then we got to be prepared to go 15. Something like that. Like I want our guys to be out there, and I want our guys to be confident in their training and their conditioning, to where they're not at oxygen jet, to where that their brain functions in a high capacity, so they can make good choices and execute in the areas that they're great. So yeah, that 100% falls on me. If we're not prepared to be in that environment and succeed at the rate we're at, we're probably like 40% win percentage over time, and as a Federal Service Academy, in future warriors, it's just got to be higher. You're not going to win all those, but we can increase our odds a little bit with a little bit smarter training, and that's on me.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you don't have a match this weekend. So does this come at a good time, do you feel, to maybe do a reset on some of these things?
Yeah, I think it's good. This is a busy place. Anytime you can, kind of, turn that dial back a little bit as far as the other things you have to battle, and we don't have competition, so we can focus on training. Like I said, we had some unfortunate circumstances where we got a little bit banged up, so the extra time is going to be a good thing for us. And I think obviously the schedule, we're looking at probably three national ranked teams back to back here coming down the pipeline. So the extra time to make some adjustments and prepare for that, and turn that dial up just a little bit, and have the guys with that extra time comes to space for rest and recovery too,
Yep.
which is an important component of that. So if we're going to train them hard, we got to be able to rest the guys too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this next 10-day training cycle where I think we can make some growth.
All right. Thanks for taking the time, Sam. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks.